Welcome to the CTA Foundation's CES interview series. My name is Steve Ewell, and I'm Executive Director of the Consumer Technology Association Foundation. And I'm really pleased to be joined today by Alexandra Amrami, the Vice President of North American Business Development at PCS Wireless, and the Executive Director of their new philanthropic arm, Community of Good. Welcome, Alex. So happy to have you joining us at CES today.
Thank you so much, Steve. It's wonderful to be here with you.
Well, I'm really excited to have a conversation about all the great work that you're doing. But first off, if people don't know about PCS Wireless, can you share some of the work that you're doing?
Absolutely. PCS Wireless is a distributor of mobile phones and other personal electronics, working very specifically within the secondary market. So we work with carriers, manufacturers, retailers to purchase and find ways to move inventory through our ecosystem and essentially bring it back out into the market for users like me and you, our grandparents, people's children who are looking for used devices to be able to use on a daily basis.
Well, that's great. And there is certainly a incredible need that exists out there for people to get their hands on the secondary market devices. What inspired you to create the Community of Good to help meet that need?
Well, PCS Wireless actually has a foundation that's really built on philanthropy, built on helping others. We've done it so much in the past, and it's really embedded in the walls and the hallways of PCS, but it's not something that we've really formalized or put out there. We have done a number of internal initiatives, which really allowed for some really wonderful things to happen, creating community through a lot of different really good endeavors and really interesting foundation work. Again, done sort of as a separate way of just inside of PCS. And more recently with COVID, just through all of the different opportunities that were brought to us and the need that was so strong, really asking for tablets, asking for mobile devices, asking for PPE equipment, asking for all of the things that were just, on the table and people were just looking for. And so we said, this is really the time to formalize this foundation, formalize just this philanthropic way that we move through the world and make it more something that we want to discuss on a broader scale. So really, I would say COVID-19 and just the good that we've been able to do as a result of the requests that we've received have really pushed us to put this as sort of a frontline work for PCS Wireless.
Well, that's incredible. And I love hearing the stories of good that are coming out of, certainly the challenges that we've all faced over the last year, but, hearing that this is actually inspiring good and something that will really help many people moving forward. Do you have any stories about some of the organizations or some of the people that you've been able to help?
Yeah, I have actually a couple stories. One of them is not really about the organizations outside of PCS, but really speaks to inside of PCS. We were a very fortunate company in that we continued to move and run while COVID was really starting to pick up in the United States in March. And, we were able to continue to work, and we had product in our warehouses, and we certainly had people that we were looking to make sure were gainfully employed and could essentially ride this out. And so when we started this COVID-19 effort through, again, different organizations that just knocked on our door, through friends, through business contacts, through different organizations that said, can you help? And when this was really broadcast internally within PCS, there was so much goodwill that was present within the warehouse, who without the warehouse and everybody that works in our warehouse, PCS could not be the global business that we are. And so we are so grateful for the people that work inside of the warehouse and really keep us running. And there was so much excitement for this incredible amount of good that we were going to be able to do, that people were just actually finding ways to donate themselves. And so I would say that is one of the major highlight, I would say, just from the, internal at PCS, recognizing that we were just so excited to be able to participate with this from just the very top to the very bottom, from the very right to the very left. Everybody was just super excited. And this really fueled our giving even more. I would say from outside of the organization, we've heard such wonderful stories. We worked closely with different organizations, helping elders, helping our local institutions that were dealing with COVID-19 patients, the doctors, ensuring that they had connected devices to be able to talk to family members, Again, we leveraged our supply chain to be able to support with PPE products. We worked very closely with Volunteers of America, who's an incredible, incredible organization, really helping people that are the most vulnerable and the most at risk. I worked with partners like Amazon to see how we could source more product through product that we were already purchasing. They were excited to be able to participate in this giving. So it really was just at every corner, at every layer, everybody was just incredibly excited to participate in something like this. And really what it did was create this community through the good that we were doing. And it was very exciting.
Oh, those are amazing. And I really am impressed. I love seeing companies in our industry that are engaged and working for the good of the community, while obviously, being businesses and being able to advance and build the products and the services that our companies are able to do, but also being able to give back, and then seeing the culture that you're able to build by, bringing together, people from across the organization to do this tech for good work. It's just incredible to see. You're kind of in an interesting spot because you're able to work with so many companies around the industry, work with so many different types of products. What are some of the types of products that you're seeing the greatest amount of demand for, kind of across the nonprofit organizations?
From a perspective of devices, I would say obviously anything that's going to keep children or people connected where they can connect to schooling. So tablets, phones, I would say tablets even more so just because of the size of them. It allows for, seniors as well as small children to really utilize them in ways that can be, just beneficial to their daily lives, whether it's connecting to family, connecting to patients, connecting to schools, connecting to colleagues, connecting to friends. I think that, the tablets are probably one of the biggest devices. I would say that, and Steve, you and I have spoken about this, and we've spoken about this in the context of some of the people that you work with. I would say one of the largest and sort of missed opportunities or the biggest white space of opportunity, we should put it like that, is really in the infrastructure set up to be able to support the Wi-Fi networks or the carrier networks so that these devices are actually usable. So that, that means that in the homeless shelters like Volunteers of America and different places around the world where, children and families are really trying to connect, it's making sure that the infrastructure is in place to even allow them the opportunity to have that chance. And so that's something that I think is going to start to scale tremendously outside of, the importance of having a device and making sure that we have a catalyst. We need to really make sure that we also just have the infrastructure in place to really take care of those people that are the most vulnerable, that, we don't think about, oh, maybe they don't have even access to Wi-Fi, or maybe they don't even have a room to sit in where, they can have some space or quiet. Maybe that means that they need earbuds or they need some kind of quiet time. And so this is something that we're really discussing with some of our partners and trying to see how we can help to facilitate some of that connection as well.
Well, that is very important because we see that with many of the organizations that we're working with. And yeah, it may be an issue of, not having the broadband available to access, but it also may just be, not having the right devices to connect in and to build out that infrastructure to help the community, especially when you're talking about community living, whether it's, senior housing, whether it's, other low income housing communities, and just the opportunities that creating those connections can really have to give people opportunities to work, live, and play, how they'd like through the use of different types of technology. So that's really incredible to hear about. Here we are, at least digitally, at CES 2021 this year. And, I'm so excited to see, all the announcements that we're going to have this week of different technologies, but also a lot of the conversations about, what are the emerging technologies that we'll see over the next, 2, 3, 4, 5 years and beyond that are really going to impact all of us. Are there particular areas of technology that you're excited for?
Oh my gosh, it's so interesting because in the business that I'm in and the business that PCS is in, we really follow trends. We're not making them. We're really looking at the circular economy. What happens when a device in its afterlife or in its, sort of secondary life, not in its first iteration. So in that sense, we're doing a lot of following, but at the same time, we're also looking and saying, how are we evolving? Because technology is changing so quickly. I have a consistent interest in VR. and the virtual world, and especially now with creating connection across, such a huge divide related to this pandemic. I think that's obviously scaling tremendously just related to content and how that's being done. I will say that in general, PCS is constantly looking forward, and we have some really interesting ways that we're looking at the future as we look at carriers, we look at OEMs, we look at the way that people live their lives, we look at the way that the internet is moving and the way that people are just more educated. We're making a strong bet on this idea that there's going to be a lot of consumer to consumer activity. That's kind of the next 5 to 10 years. And, PCS even believes that in a very short time, we ourselves will be distinct. There won't necessarily be any need for this kind of middleman. And hopefully there won't be any need for community of good because we'll have solved so many problems. But that's really what we're looking at in terms of just that technology of just getting people closer and closer together. That means that buying and selling their product, to each other versus having to go through somebody like PCS. We actually have a very interesting arm called Tessa-B that's looking at that very closely. Obviously, blockchain, which has been a buzzword for quite a long time. I think there's going to be some really interesting things related to the way that we buy and sell and how diagnostic are going to be logged on the blockchain to really show origin of product, to give real confidence to the buyer and the seller. So, the technology landscape is so huge. And I think that what we're going to see is that even as it expands and gets bigger, and VR and all the other ways that we're going to, sort of go off into the next level, I think we're also going to see that there's going to be also a condensing that happens, and ways that, people are going to want to try to find ways to interact with each other more closely, whether it's through a buying or selling, or, through technology that they're going to have to be connected with their neighbor because they can't go down the hall for whatever reason, like COVID. So that's kind of what we're looking at as kind of the next play, and we're very excited about it.
Well, that's great. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of importance for all those issues that you raised and all those emerging technologies. But, there really is an important role for you and PCS Wireless to play in, getting those devices back out and continuing their use for the longer run. So I think there's a great interplay between the emerging technologies and the continued use of technologies that will benefit all of us moving forward. So I'm really excited to see how that all continues to come together and work together. So, we're really, just thrilled to have PCS Wireless as a CTA member and have your involvement in the association, and then have an opportunity to work with you through our foundation as well. If people want to learn more about the work that you're doing, whether it's at PCS Wireless or whether it's your work for Community of Good, where should they go?
Well, it's the age of the internet. So you can find us on LinkedIn, you can find us online. Our URL is PCSWW.com, and our Community of Good is communityofgood.org. So, and of course, you can always reach out to me. We're a very small and very interested group, and we're looking to change the world in many wonderful ways. So I look forward to hearing from anybody that's interested in reaching out.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Alex. It's always a pleasure talking with you. And I'm really excited to see everything that you're building and the continued Tech for Good story that you're going to be able to tell based on all the good work that you're doing out in the community. So thank you for joining us at CES 2021. And I can't wait to keep working with you.
Oh, me too, Steve. Thank you so much for everything. And thank you for just keeping us interested and engaged in all of these really, really important questions. As we look and build these big businesses of technology, it's really important that we remember the balance of good. And it's really important and very exciting, the work that you are doing. So thank you for everything.
Absolutely. Well, really, it's a pleasure talking. And for the audience, if you're interested in learning more about the CTA Foundation, you can go to ctafoundation.tech. And otherwise, I wish you a wonderful CES 2021.